Hey everyone, this is episode 2 of Finance Fridays. Hopefully you watched the first one. If not, you can go find it on YouTube. We'll put it there on our YouTube channel. But today's topic, we want to introduce you to a person. His name is Chris Hogan. This is the book that someone else bought for me about retiring inspired. But his latest book is called Everyday Millionaires. I can't remember how long ago it came out, and I've heard him on a few podcasts. But we briefly mentioned it in the first episode about the mindset and things that it takes to become an everyday millionaire. So we're going to talk about some of the attributes and some of the things that people are doing. And what they actually did, and we're going to talk about some of the stats on this, is they actually did a study and interviewed 10,000 everyday millionaires. So people that from the time they were in their 20s, by the time they got to their 50s and 60s, figured out a way to become a millionaire. And of course, that's that net worth number we talked about again, where their net worth is $1 million. They don't necessarily have cash of $1 million. We're going to talk about some actual myths about people and how they became millionaires. So again, they did a study on 10,000 people that are actual millionaires, became millionaires, and here's some of the stats. Again, we talked about it. People believe that they inherited money. That's how they became a millionaire. And of these 10,000 people, 79% of them inherited $0. They're all self-made. They earned the money themselves. Of course, they built wealth over time. So we were just talking about this with my team, where there was this example that I learned. I don't even know how young I was when I learned it, and it was just amazing to me that back in the day when you could only put $2,000 into your 401k. So if someone started when they were 18 years old and put $2,000 in every year till they were 25, and they stopped, and someone else started at 25 and put $2,000 in their 401k every year for 40 years till they were 65, pick the interest rate, 8%, 10%, 6%, doesn't even matter what the interest rate is. The person who started at 18 and stopped at 25 and only contributed $14,000 or $16,000 would literally have more money than the person who did it over 40 years starting later. So again, it's compounding. It's a magic thing. If you don't understand it, there's amortization schedules you can find online on Excel. It'll show you how it works. I could show you in person. It's amazing how all that stuff works. Another myth is that people think you had to make a lot of money to become a millionaire. And it's really not true. The key is, again, starting young, paying yourself first, making it automatic, and then not touching that money. Just live like you didn't have it so you can plan for the long haul. And I know it's a challenging, difficult game. It's no different than we know we're supposed to eat healthy so that we'll lose weight. But again, sometimes the easiest things become the hardest things. I know in the examples that they used, 3 of the jobs that were people that were in this group that were the most common were engineers, makes sense, accountants, because they're usually good with money, and then 2 others were teachers/college professors. And we all know teachers don't make tons of money, but because typically they are good at putting money in their 401k and they have good pensions and retirements, that a lot of teachers, it's amazing how they retire as wealthy people. Some of the key attributes, people like their belief systems were taking personal responsibility, being very intentional about their money. So again, I know a lot of people don't want to pay attention to their money, but literally it needs to be a second job for you, paying attention to where all your money's going, budgeting, investing, all those kind of things, which again, we're going to talk about specifics on some of these in future episodes. They're goal-oriented people. So if I knew, hey, I want to make $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 a month without working, and that goal is 20 years out, some people can't think that far out, but it's something that you need to pay attention to, or you're going to be working forever. A couple others, of course, that they're hard workers, and it just says wealth building over time. We all know that at this point. We beat that drum. So a few of the things that you can do that are easy for people, especially right off the start, of course, is budgeting. If you're making $1,000, you need to know where every cent of that $1,000 is going, which I know is a pain in the rear, and people don't like budgeting, but an easier way to do it is this. If you know you need to save 5, 10, 15, 20% off the top, just do that part first and then just live off the rest of it. It doesn't really matter if you spend all the rest of your money because you're using the pay yourself first method. Getting out of debt. So again, that goes into that reverse compound interest where you don't want to be paying interest on things like cars and credit cards and buying things that you don't necessarily need. The other thing we've talked about in the past, of course, is if your financial situation isn't good, why are we buying $6 coffees at Starbucks? We've talked about the Latte Factor book. We're going to talk about that in the next episode. So there's just things you can do that are simple and easy. So when people say I can't find $100 or $200 or $300 a month, a lot of times if you literally wrote down every nickel you spent for an entire month, we could usually find money for people as far as all that stuff goes. Another thing that we like to see, and I know my wife and I are big on this because again, I'm a commission person, I don't make a salary, is to try to have 3 to 6 months of whatever your income is saved as a reserve, so in case you lost your job, an emergency came up. But those funds need to be used for those reasons. Don't use that to buy a car or go on vacation or those kind of things. It's that emergency fund, so if for some reason you were out of work, you had those kind of things. And then again, it's not a get rich overnight situation. Getting wealthy over time is the way that it works. And again, you want to be the tortoise, not the hare. It's slow and steady and long term. And you can make this happen. You got to believe it. We talked about in the first episode, you got to get your mind right. Then you got to start paying attention to every dollar you spend and where it's going. And then once we've paid off our debts, gotten rid of, got reserve accounts put away, had cash available to us if something came up, then we can talk about the next steps, which be investing in things, buying a home if you don't already live in a home, investing in property and those kind of things. Because again, all these people, the 10,000 people that were interviewed, said they got wealthy doing 2 things: owning real estate and putting their money into the stock market, however you do that, whether it's in retirement accounts. I'm not one of these people that wants to be a day trader or those kind of things. It's the long, slow, steady, and you should have a financial planner that does that for you. So if you don't have one, we can recommend some to you as well. So thank you for watching episode 2. There'll be more information on it. We'll put a link below so that Chris Hogan, you can get his new book, which is Everyday Millionaires, and you can read about the myths and what people believe. You can do it. You can absolutely be a millionaire by the time you get to the point where you want to retire. It is not as hard and complicated as you think. So thanks for watching our next episode. We really appreciate it. If you're liking the stuff we're putting out there, you can find us in a lot of places. So you can friend me on Facebook. We have a Lessinger Team Facebook page. I'm on Instagram at Brian Lessinger. And again, we'll upload these videos to YouTube. And if you just type in Brian Lessinger, you'll find the videos there as well. Thanks again, and we'll see you on episode 3. Have a great day.